want to say good morning to everybody. And I went live on drboycetv.com this morning to talk about some interesting topics. And there was one more thing that people asked me to address, and I thought that I would jump in and talk about it real quick. There's a really great documentary on Netflix right now about Kevin Hart and his life in terms of what he goes through on a daily basis. I know Alicia loves it. Alicia was like, "You got to see this Kevin Hart documentary. You got to see this." So I started to watch a little bit of it. I did not get to catch the whole thing, mainly because, like I have stuff to do. But I respect what Kevin Hart does. I like people like Will Packer and stuff like that. I think these brothers are doing some good work. And so there was one particular thing that I was asked about related to Kevin Hart and an altercation he had with his trainer. I got to look up his trainer's name, but I know his nickname is Boyce. And I don't know if anybody saw that. Give me a yes or no if you saw the interesting back and forth between Kevin Hart and his trainer, the guy whose nickname is Boyce. I gotta look his actual name up so I don't keep calling him Boyce. But anyway, let me see. Give me a yes or no if you saw that. Ron Everline, that's his name. And they had a really interesting, it really heated back and forth over a topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is wealth. They were actually talking about money, and Kevin was kind of challenging Boyce, which is a great name, right? But he was challenging him on where he is financially. He was challenging him on whether or not he actually has wealth. And I can't play the clip because I don't want to get, I want to deal with any copyright stuff on YouTube. But you should check it out because it is definitely interesting. And it's interesting in the sense that, you see Kevin really checking Boyce on whether or not he's actually a boss, really asking him a lot of really, I think, very testy questions. In fact, I saw that they were all drinking at the time. And I'm gonna just tell you like this, there's a reason why I believe I encourage black men to not consider not drinking. I'm not here to tell you to drink or not to drink. That's your business. But the reason I chose not to drink is because I saw a lot of my uncles and older black male relatives going down because of liquor. I mean, I know a lot of brothers that got, 50 years in prison over things they did while they were drinking. In blackmenunited.net, our organization for black men, I'm just real clear in terms of not necessarily telling people what to do, but really reminding people, remember Malcolm X said a long time ago, he said, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then he'll lock you up for being drunk. So when I saw that they were drinking, I said, okay, that explains a lot. Because drinking makes guys think that they're Superman. Next thing you know, Kevin Hart's talking smack to his trainer, and his trainer could probably whoop his ass in about 30 seconds or less. What I kept hearing Kevin say is he kept saying, "So you think you're rich? You think you're rich?" And then the guy's, Boyce is coming back, and he's like, "I work every day," and he's like, "Yeah, but if everything stops, do you have wealth? Do you have a home?" He keeps asking, "Do you have a home? Do you have a home?" And Boyce didn't answer the question, which seemed to imply that Kevin was kind of saying, you think you're doing okay financially because you work every day, but you don't actually own anything. You don't own a house, right? And that's a real testy kind of thing for a black man to say to another black man, because that is reflective of a bigger issue in our community, right? We have a lot of black folks that have a lot of money, a lot of cash. They're making money while they're working, but they don't actually own any assets. And that's one of the things that I think Kevin seems to understand pretty well, and I imagine Boyce probably gets it too, is that if you don't own anything, then you really don't have anything. And in fact, when I talk to young ladies, I get I have young ladies I mentor who ask me, questions about everything, relationships, about men, things like that. And I just tell them, I say, look, if you really care about whether or not a man has assets, which actually it's okay to do that, because actually, basically, studies show that women care about whether or not a man is financially fit. I don't know, ladies in here, please co-sign if you agree that women do care if men are financially fit, if men are financially responsible. And if you don't care, you probably should care, because there could be things underneath the hood that you don't see when you're looking at the man and you're seeing how much swag he has, what kind of shoes he's wearing, what kind of car he's driving. You need to know what kind of assets he's owning, what he's doing financially with his money, how he thinks when it comes to money. Because I know a lot of guys who make a lot of money, but as soon as they can't make any more money, as soon as they can't work anymore, they go broke, right? And it's not something to be ashamed of. I'm not shaming anybody at all. I'm just telling you that, you know, from my position as a finance PhD, that's how you know if you're financially good. The question is not how much money do you make when you're working. The question is, how are you going to be doing if you can't work anymore, right? You follow me? Do you get what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm talking about here. So anyway, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're on Facebook, please, Alexis and Michael and everybody else in here, if you could share this to your page, I'd appreciate it, because I think Black folks need to hear conversations like this. We talk a lot about flash, but we don't talk a lot about substance. We talk a lot about, you know, swag and material stuff, but we're not actually talking about the things that matter when it comes to ourselves and the future of our children. We talk a lot about hustling for our first name, but we don't hustle enough for our last name. And that's one of the things I want to try to help reshape in terms of the narrative. And we're making progress on this. You know, I sent a text to Charlemagne the God today, and basically thanking him for having Claude Anderson on to talk about powernomics and what it means to really have economic power. And I think that by him talking about this issue publicly and hearing more rappers and other entertainers talking about it, it's really sort of heightening our economic consciousness, right? You're seeing more and more Black people becoming financially woke. You know, when I was sitting there and I was reflecting on the last decade, like a lot of you were, and saying, okay, what did we accomplish? What did we do? What was my life like at the beginning of the decade versus now? What was the community doing at the beginning of the decade versus now? I can just tell you, a decade ago, Black people were not at all interested in talking about wealth, not, at least not on a large scale. Also, the fact that now we have rappers and celebrities really talking about wealth and what that means, that makes me very proud of you. I'm really, really excited and honored to be a part of what I consider to be one of the most significant Black economic revolutions in the last 100 years, right? Since Marcus Garvey, have we not had a financial awakening in the community? So that's a good thing. You should pat yourselves on the back for that. But anyway, let me break down a little bit more of this Kevin Hart thing. I'm going to say this. You can say a good and a bad in terms of how Kevin handled this situation. You know, the good is that sometimes you need to be challenged. You know, sometimes you need to be checked. Sometimes you need somebody that's going to point out, you know, give you a little tough love and point out your vulnerability, so you'll kind of know what's going on. Kind of like a football coach. You know, a football coach will be like, you really think you're a football player? You'd be like, yeah, I'm a good football player. First you get defensive, like, yeah, I'm good. I got more yards than anybody else on the team last year, right? Oh, you really think you're good? Okay, well, how come you drop 30% of your passes? Well, no, I'm good. I'm a good player. Well, how come you had 18 fumbles last season? You know what I mean? Like you know, so you get mad, you get angry, right? And you push back. But then when you get away from the conversation and you kind of sit down and you think about it, you're like, damn, you know, I did get a lot of fumbles last year. Damn, I did drop some passes last year. And so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, maybe to prove the hater wrong, you're going to go and you're going to work on protecting the football a little bit better, right? You're going to go and you're going to learn, you're going to work on your catching skills, right? So sometimes being challenged sharpens you up. And what I really see in the relationship between Kevin and the trainer is these guys appear to be really good friends. I did some Googling and some research on the two, and I see all these pictures of them posing together on a private jet, running, you know, marathons together, you know, in the weight room together. So these guys are friends. These are two friends who just got into an ugly back and forth. Again, the liquor, sometimes the liquor causes you to say things you shouldn't say. Later on, Kevin Hart came back and he said, I effed up. You know, and I believe him. I believe that he's like, man, damn, like, I didn't really mean to, like, go at my friend like this. But that's what guys do. Some people think it's always mean, it's abusive. And maybe the reason you're tempted to feel that way is because Kevin is the rich guy, right? But he's the rich guy. But he also, you know, Kevin Hart is not a big guy. He's a little tiny, short little man, right? So sometimes you ever see, like, a really small, tiny person who has, like, a Napoleon complex? I'm not saying Kevin has that, but he might have it. I know a lot of guys, little guys, who really just sort of push a little bit harder than most. Like, I think T.I. might be in that category. I love T.I. He's my favorite rapper, but he's not a big man. So he kind of, when he walks around, he's always, you know, like, doing this kind of thing, because that's kind of maybe what happens. My dad actually has a little bit of that. My dad's not a big man, but he's a big man, if that makes any sense. My dad's a very strong man, and a lot of it is because he was not a big man, right? So basically, my point is to say that I think Kevin got a little bit out of line. I don't think it's something worth beating him up over. I don't think it makes sense to get mad at him just because he's doing well. Now, on the other hand, though, I think a little bit of empathy is called for. All right, and I say this because sometimes I'm guilty of being hard on people. You know, if I'm challenging them, and I think that Kevin, by admitting that he effed up, that was a good move. Because you know, I think that when you check a man, when you're challenging another man like that, you're gonna get a nasty reaction. And what I picked up when I was carefully listening, I watched the video 2-3 times. I was listening to what Boyce was saying, you know, what the trainer was saying in response, and a lot of his words were very defensive. It was like, okay, you're calling me on my weaknesses, and I don't like that. Like, I'm very, very angry with you right now because you're really challenging me, and you're asking questions I really don't want to answer. Because he kept asking, do you have a home? Do you have a home? Do you have a home? And there's nothing worse than to have a man who has more money than Jesus, you know, asking you, do you have a home? And he's asking you this in front of women, right? In front of your girl. I don't know if that other guy was his girl, or some lady sitting there. He's asking you this in front of your girl. And this guy's he's a trainer, so he's filled with testosterone. So you begging for a fight. Liquor and testosterone plus your woman right next to you, you're gonna have a blow up like this. And I think it could have been a more productive conversation, but I think at the same time, if you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it all, Kevin was asking the right questions. He was just asking them in the wrong way. You know, in fact, I remember when I remember this. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done this, please hit the thumbs up button. I remember one other time when I got a call from Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club, and he said, we need you to come in to talk about this Damon Dash interview that happened yesterday. And I said, okay, I did see it. And he said, yeah, so what did you think about it? I said, well, you know, I felt like Damon made a lot of good points. He challenged Black men about being bosses. He challenged them about owning their own businesses. He challenged them about not wanting to spend their lives as economic slaves. So that's the good side of it all. And he said, yeah. But he said, man, I got all these guys calling me now, and they're all telling me I'm going to quit my job tomorrow, and that's going to be bad because they can't all just go quit their jobs. And I said, yeah, you're right. They can't all just quit their jobs. You know, Charlemagne, you know, he gets a lot of flack sometimes, but he's a very smart guy. He's not a stupid man. And I said, yeah, you're right. And he said, well, can you come in and kind of give some balance and some nuance to what Dame said? And I said, yeah, I'll definitely do that. I said, but one thing I don't want to do, and I'm not going to do, and I don't think he was asking me to do this at all, but I said, I'm not really going to throw him under the bus. I'm not going to throw him under the bus because that's kind of what Black men need. Black men need to have their testicles checked every now and then to understand one fundamental reality. And that fundamental reality is that, unfortunately, you live in a world where if you are not financially strong, then you are not considered to be a man. I know it's controversial to say this. I know a lot of people might give me pushback on this because we live in a touchy-feely, pussy-ass world where people believe that we shall overcome, and if you hold hands and pray to white Jesus, that suddenly things are going to get better for you. But I will just tell you that a lot of your manhood is measured by whether or not you're financially secure. Ladies who are in the chat, give me a confirmation on this. From what I've studied, because I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking many, many years ago, one of the most fascinating findings that I picked up when I talked to dozens and dozens of women about how they viewed money is that women are really affected when a man when he unravels or disrupts the financial security of the household. Like women really get pissed off when you fuck up the money. Ladies, can you please give me a cosign on this? Give me a yes or no if you agree with this statement. Women do not like a broke ass man. Women do not like a man who messes up the financial situation. Women do not like a man who creates financial chaos and instability in the household. They just don't like it. Women like security. That's why do you think women on average, not all the time, but women on average tend to be attracted to men who are stronger, right? In different ways, right? Like if you have a skinny man and a muscular man and you take a vote of 1,000 women, which would you rather have, the little scrawny ass man or the man with the big muscles? They will vote for the man with the big muscles. If you have a tall man next to a tiny little short man and you ask women, which man would you want? Do you want the tall man who's 6'5", or do you want the little short man who's 4'7" in high heels? Right? Women are gonna vote for the tall man. If you ask women, would you want the powerful, famous man over here, the Barack Obama type? Or do you want the guy who is the shift manager at the local Burger King that nobody knows about? Which do you vote for? Which would you rather have as your husband? The tall famous, or the tall famous man with the big muscles, or the short scrawny man who works at the Burger King that nobody respects? Women are gonna pick the popular, famous, respected man, the man who has the power, right? If you ask women, which would you rather have, a really intelligent man, or the man who can't even spell his mama's middle name, right? Do you want the smart man or the dumb man? Which man would you prefer? Women are gonna vote for the smart man. So ask yourself, think about this, process this for a minute. Why are women, on average, not all the time, every woman's different, we know this, but why on average do women want the tall man over the short man, the muscular man over the scrawny man, the intelligent man over the unintelligent man, the powerful man over the weak man, the wealthy man over the broke ass man? It all comes down to one word: security. The big, tall, strong man can protect you. The little, tiny, skinny man can't do nothing, right? The courageous man, the bold man, the confident man, which is why women are attracted to confidence, the confident man can have your back. The wimpy ass man is going to run and hide in the closet if the burglar breaks into the house, right? Security. Women are wired very deeply. And this is not Boyce Watkins telling you this. This is evolution. This is the universe telling you. This is God. God wired this in. Women, for 100,000 years of evolution, have always been wired to be attracted to men who can provide security. That's why they like the men who are stronger, taller, smarter, wealthier, more powerful, and more confident, because it comes down to security. And it's very important for Black men to learn this and understand this, because you live in a world where people want to pretend like that's not true. You live in a world where you really believe that you can sit around all day and complain about how you got to get on your knees and rub a white man's testicles every day, and then you wonder why your women don't respect you. You wonder why your women have a hard time respecting that, and why, well, you can't be down for me when I'm broke and riding on the bus pass. Well, that's because she's not wired that way. The same way you're not wired to be attracted to her if she decides she wants to gain 300 pounds and never do her hair, never take a bath again, right? You're not going to be attracted to that, because that's not how you're wired. Men are attracted to certain things. We're wired for certain things. We're wired for the long hair, the pretty eyes, the nice booty, whatever it is that you like. It's okay to like what you like, but it's also okay for women to like what they like. Now, how does that circle back to Kevin and this brother and this trainer in this conversation? Well, this was a very high testosterone masculine conversation where Kevin was basically fronting on him and basically saying, as he's fronting on him, he's saying, "You's a bitch." That's what he's like. He's like, do you own a home? If everything stopped tomorrow, where would you be financially, right? And he's feeling this, right? Because he's a trainer. He's trained to be masculine in certain traditional ways, like I'm big and strong, and I work hard, and I go to the gym, and he's strong in certain ways. But what he's kind of pointing out is, like, you might be physically strong and you might be mentally strong, but you may not be as financially strong as you might think. And so I'm gonna just tell you, like, at the end of the day, I actually kind of like that conversation. I think it's great that they can have a discussion like that, fight it out, and still be friends. Because I bet your ass, I bet you anything. How much you want to bet that within a year, this brother's gonna have his own home? How many you want to bet? I bet you anything that if he does not own a home right now, he will own a home by the end of the year 2020 or the end of the year 2021. I guarantee it, because he knows in the bottom of his heart that even though Kevin got out of line and the liquor was doing a little more talking than it should have been, and he was fronting on him, he definitely said some things in a way that was a little bit disrespectful. He knows at the end of the day, the reason he challenged him like that is because he cared. See, sometimes we fall for this idea that if somebody's mean to us or they say some things that hurt our feelings, that it's because they don't like us, or they being mean, or they being disrespectful. No, sometimes people say things to you in their own way because they love you enough to give a shit. Kevin Hart is seen by millions of people all around the world. He ain't got to be talking to you. He ain't got to have you on the private jet. playing poker with him, whatever they were playing, and drinking liquor with him and talking to you about some real shit. So while your feelings might be a little bit hurt, you know, and I understand him being a little bit hurt. That's it. That's a little humiliating. And Kevin did get a little bit out of line. Maybe at the same time, he can say, well, you know, damn, I don't like it, but he does have a point. So, hey, bro, can you show me how to allocate some assets so that I can have a stronger financial game, so that I can become a better man for my family, so I can hustle for my last name too. Because if you watch Kevin's documentary, what I did pick up on, and everybody keeps telling me to watch it, my manager tells me to watch it, and I do a lot of stuff in Philly where Kevin's from, so I know a lot of people that know him and stuff like that, and the respect is there for sure. But you know, here's the thing. One thing I remember hearing Kevin talk about is the importance of legacy. The importance of legacy. And so I think that Kevin, you know, again, I don't like everything Kevin does. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like, you know, I mean, you go back, you look at history, listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. He talks about the history of how Black people are able to get ahead financially by doing what the Tiffany Haddishes do and making jokes for white people, because that identifies you as a safe Negro, which therefore gives you a financial advantage over the unsafe Negro, because they will always put money into the hands of the safe Negro before the unsafe Negro. So let's just be clear that you're operating within the context of white supremacy. But putting that to the side, I do like the fact that Kevin talks about legacy, and I like the fact that he talks about running a business. I like the fact that he talks about economic strength and independence, and I also like the fact that it seems that he helps certain brothers and sisters as well to get opportunities that they might not have otherwise, and I think that's great. But I think ultimately that shouldn't be the final game plan. The final game plan long term should be independently Black-owned companies that can employ not just 1 or 2 Black people, but hundreds or even thousands of Black people on a mass scale, so that the masses of Black people can actually achieve economic strength and independence without hoping that white people come through and write a check. That's what you're ultimately aiming for. So where you are right now in this generation is you are in early phases of what I consider to be the long-term Black economic revolution. The short-term win is for Black people, a couple of Black people to be accepted into Hollywood so they can go get that money and do whatever Kevin Hart's doing. The next step is to have production companies like Kevin Hart has, where you're actually doing your own thing, making your own films. The final step should be a Black Hollywood type atmosphere where thousands and thousands of Black people can get jobs and opportunities in an industry that is completely controlled by Black people from the bottom to the top, from the rooter to the tutor, from north to south, east to west, vertical integration, all the way horizontal integration, all that across the board. That's your ultimate Powernomics game plan. And I hope that Kevin is going in that direction. I believe that he is. And that's why I respect and support what he's doing. All right. So anyway, that's all I got to say. There's nothing else to talk about. So feel free to leave your comments and tell me what you think. And last but not least, please hit the thumbs up button before you go. Hit the share, subscribe button. Also, if you haven't joined us in the Black Business School, we have 83,000 students. We want to get to 100,000. Go join us at theblackbusinessschool.com. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. We have all kinds of programs and courses on everything from stock market investing to starting your own business to real estate programs. We have all kinds of stuff. So go to theblackbusinessschool.com. You can actually get started for free. So go ahead and join us so you can be a part of everything we got going on over there. So anyway, that's it, guys. I hope that this helps you. This analysis breaks it down for you. People have asked me to give my point of view on it. So there you go. There you have it. All right. So have a good day, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up button before you go. Share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Be good. Peace.